What's going on? It's your boy Mixmaster B here, live from the MMB Radio Studios for the MMB Radio Podcast, where no topic is too big or too small. We talk about them all. And my guest on this episode of the podcast is a woman who has been the most sought out adult talent in the world right now. I mean, she has been making the media rounds, doing all kinds of podcasts. I mean, she's everywhere. She has her own toy now. She's just simply amazing, and I'm so happy and excited to have her on. She's the 2023 AVN Best Trans Newcomer Performer. I want to welcome her in right now, Miss Brittney Kade. Brittney, what's going on?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, excited to have you on the podcast. First, before we get into any kind of questions, how does it feel right now to be, like, again, I said the most sought out talent right now, like your mentions and people hitting you up is like, it's got to be blowing you up as like crazy. How's it feel to have everybody like wanting a piece of your attention right now?
It's pretty interesting. I don't know. I've never would have thought in a million years that this many people would like want to talk to me or like want to shoot me, or even like when I was at the AVN Expo, I had ran out of my like pictures that I had. Like I really underestimated, I guess, my popularity. So it's been really awesome, and I'm so grateful to have all these doors opening for me, like my toy line. I recently, like within the past week, I've done like 4 different podcasts. I'm shooting like crazy, and I'm just very blessed. And I'm thankful for it, all of it.
Well, I have a lot of questions for you tonight. We also have some fan questions for you. And, I mean, I'm sure you've probably answered this on almost every type of podcast already, and you're probably going to be answering it on more podcasts. But, again, like I said, you're in high demand right now. So a lot of people, you know, they all want to hear what you have to say. So I guess the first thing I want to kind of start off is like kind of tell everybody, like, your upbringing, because being a trans performer, kind of take us through, you know, that whole transformation, because I've done some research and I kind of looked into it and I've read articles, and it wasn't easy, from what I gathered, you know, doing the transitioning and, you know, bullying and all that type of stuff. So kind of set the story for everybody.
So, yeah, I have done, I've basically been in the public eye since I was 17. I shared my story with the Daily Mail on how I struggled really badly with bullying in school. I grew up in Palm Springs, California, which you would think would be a more progressive place to grow up, being that it has a huge gay population, but I faced so much bullying and just the worst experiences in school and dealing with other kids. Figuring out that I was transgender was it changed my life really, but since birth, I've always been feminine. I've always had long hair. I've always identified with femininity. And I feel like I face a lot of stigma for that. And it definitely made me a stronger person, and I'm thankful for it. But, I mean, there were a lot of dark times in my childhood because of it. Like, I had to drop out of school after the 6th grade. I have lost family members. My dad was never in my life because I was so feminine. He just didn't know what to do with me. And yeah, it was a struggle for real. But when I transitioned at 13, it really did change my life. And it gave so much more hope and excitement to just live my life and be who I was and not have to conform to other people's expectations of me, I guess.
Now, you mentioned about you not having your father in your life. Growing up, you said you felt feminine and I guess I identified as, being feminine since birth. Was your parents trying to do anything? Because you hear so many horror stories about kids that are, either want to transition or identify as something else or just come out as gay, and people, family trying to, force religion, therapy, all kinds of weird stuff to kind of get them to conform what they want. Did you deal with any of those struggles like that? And like, did your family try to stop you from being who you genuinely were?
Absolutely. My mother was very not. She didn't really step in when she could have when it came to her part. So my mom had me when she was 16. My dad at the time was 18. And so they were never together. It was like a teen pregnancy vibe. And so my mom, she's been engaged, I want to say, at least 5 times. And I swear every single guy that ever came into the picture, aside from like maybe one, but still on the fence and awkward about it. But they always had a feeling towards me being trans and being feminine, and they would tell my mom, oh, you shouldn't let them play with Barbies, they're going to grow up and be gay, just stuff like that. So there would be days when I would have literally all my Barbies, all my girly toys and princess stuff. It was all thrown away. So, and then replaced with like G.I. Joes or like those race cars or whatever. And yeah, I was also dealing with, I don't know, my grandmother, she was very religious. She went to church every Sunday, and I was kind of risking losing her in my life, coming out as trans, and I was very afraid of it for the longest time. But ironically enough, she's been the most stable and supportive person that I even now have, even doing porn. So for the most part, yeah, I did deal with like a lot of hardships with my family. My dad was always trying to get me to do sports, and I'm just like not athletic at all. So it never worked out, and it kind of drove a wedge in between us, because he realized more and more that I was never going to be the son that he wanted. I was never going to be a boy's boy. And it made him not want me in his life. He felt embarrassed of me. I know a lot of my family felt embarrassed that I was so feminine, and even when I did transition and start identifying as female, I lost so many family members because of it. It was really an eye opener on who is someone that I can count on in my life.
And it needs to be noted too is that when you come out as trans, like, because there's just ignorance and people are just stupid, they automatically assume, oh, well, he must be gay. And being gay and trans, 2 totally different things. Did you ever at any time, were you, I mean, obviously going through that at a young age, were you ever confused of like, like maybe there is something to what they're saying, or, what was like the internal struggle like?
Of course. Well, are you meaning like the internal struggle dealing with figuring out that I was trans?
Yeah, because again, people are seeing you like, oh, you're acting feminine, and people that don't understand, being trans or understand what it's like to be trans, automatically the assumption is, oh, that he must be gay, because he's playing with girl stuff and he wants to be a girl, so he's gay. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
I
sure there's a
def-
lot of influences of people saying things to you. That's what I'm saying. Like, what is it? What was the internal struggle of trying to? Because at a young age, you're saying you're transitioning when you're 13. There's a lot of people that are still older than that now that are still trying to wrap their minds around what's going on in their lives.
True. I do think I am one of the small percentage of the world that does come out of the womb kind of feeling automatically like a girl. Like I, it's hard to explain in a way because I always inside felt like a girl. I knew that I was attracted to guys. I knew that that's what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, even like 5 years old, I would play imagination with other kids, and I would always be the princess. I was always the girl. So, and it was at a time when it was still very taboo. This is pre Caitlyn Jenner era. This is when it wasn't even spoken about in the media. The only exposure that you would have gotten about trans people is like, I don't know, Eddie Murphy or like Jerry Springer or like porn. So I really didn't, I don't know. I realized that I was trans, but I do think first and foremost, I realized that I was attracted to males and boys. So I always kind of, I don't know. At first I did question like, oh, maybe I'm just like a feminine gay guy or something. Like as a 12 and 10-year-old, I'm still like discovering myself. But I remember even like dressing up for Halloween, and I would always, of course, be a girl. And there was one Halloween where I just wanted, I didn't want it to be over. I wanted to live my life that way. And I think I didn't really experience much backlash from coming out as trans. Like it feel like it did give an explanation for like my entire childhood on why I've always been so girly. And I think a lot of people in my life were like, okay, now this makes sense. Because I don't know, I've always been flamboyant. So, yeah, it was a journey for me to realize that. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think that it is something that obviously, like, if you're attracted to boys and you identify, like, with femininity, that doesn't automatically make you trans. But I had known of one other trans woman off of, like, YouTube when I was younger, and I remember seeing her life, and it was so incredibly inspiring to me. And that's why I love doing podcasts like this, because I can really share my story and in hopes, like, inspire a next generation, or anyone else that's out there that is questioning their own gender or sexuality. I just have to inspire with my story.
And that's the great thing. That's why I wanted to have you on, because I'm hoping that I take something away from this, because I feel like the stigmas out there are so real. And, I feel like the tide is slowly turning, that people are starting to accept, and you see, like you said, it's more in mainstream media now, where it wasn't when you were younger. But let me ask too, do you have any brothers or sisters? Like, who was someone that was a friend that you could say was, a confidant or an ally for you?
I had growing up, I had no brothers or sisters. Honestly, it sounds very sad, but I spent a lot of my childhood alone. My mother was addicted to drugs and pain medication. She also is bipolar and was untreated for the majority of my childhood. So imagine going through that and then dealing with like internal struggles, not just like external.
Mm-hmm.
So really the only place I could go was like in my own world, and kind of just, honestly, I spent a lot of time alone. I didn't have any friends. No one at school wanted to hang out with the weirdo, the freak, which is what everyone viewed me as. And I didn't have the support that I wanted, the comfort from my family. So I just kind of turned inward and really, I don't know, I escaped into the online world and YouTube and just being able to connect with other people online that were feeling the same way that I did. It made me feel way less alone and crazy.
Now, at 13, you said you started transitioning. So what steps were you taking to transition, and who helped with that process? Because, again, mentioning difficulties at home with mom and not having support from friends or any friends and family, what is some of the steps that you took to go through to transition? Because there are people that, do different procedures, and kind of take us all through that at 13.
Yeah, so I've always been a hustler, like since I was a child. And I think part of that is just because like I didn't have conventional parents that took care of me. So I was always having to take care of myself. And when it came to my transition, I remember like I would go on eBay and I would like sell all these like electronics or like iPods or something, whatever that I had that would be of value. And or even at school, I would, as a kid, I would sell like candy or like snacks and stuff. Like I was always trying to make money, and I used that money to go to thrift stores, and I would purchase like girl clothes, whatever I could find that was cute and I could wear, because I literally started with nothing.
And you could find some cute shit at the thrift store, so
you can. I'm not knocking thrift stores. But that's where I started. I started with the thrift stores, and I bleached my hair. I was a kid. I would like steal makeup from Target, and like I would do my makeup, and eventually I ended up being an underage escort because of this. And I was escorting at a very young age, and that's how I supported myself for a while. Those are all things that like I had to do to really become the girl that I wanted. I don't escort anymore. Like it gave me a drug problem. I could not do that sober. So it was kind of a dark period in my life. And I got on hormones when I was 14. I remember calling so many different people. It was very difficult finding someone that would treat me because I was so young.
I was going to say, because you would need some type of consent. Wouldn't he be an underage or?
Yeah, and like I will give my mom the fact that she was very supportive of me becoming a girl. There's a lot of things that she fell short on, but at least I had that. So she signed off on me getting on estrogen and starting my hormone therapy. And I'm very grateful for that because I do feel like that's why I am like successful in my line of work now, is because I had like such an early head start at becoming female, like physically.
Mm-hmm. Now, what sparked you to get into the adult business? And I hear people who, that have mentioned, being trans, that it's such a hard thing to live as a trans person as far as getting work, having a steady job. So a lot of people, like you said, resort to doing things like escorting, stealing, and getting into the adult world. What made you want to get into it? Was it because you felt like there was no other options for you to be successful? And I don't say that to be like ignorant, but it's just, because a lot of people, that I have met that are trans are like, hey, I can't get a regular job because places will just discriminate against me, and there's ways of getting around discriminating me, and there's no other world for me to make a living.
I mean, I think it's very sad that is a harsh reality for a lot of trans people. For me, it was not a last resort. It was, if anything, a passion for mine. Like, I had done the escorting thing, and I had an awful experience with that for a variety of reasons. When I was looking back now, being like 23, I'm like, okay, y'all were a bunch of predators, fucking with a teenager. But now, and then on top of it, I was on drugs and everything, and it was really hard for me. And I feel like because I was putting myself in danger, I was needing to be fucked up to be there. That's how I knew it was like, it wasn't meant for me. It works for some girls, and I'm not like shaming them, like make that fucking bad girl. But for me, it's like porn is so much safer. You're in a very controlled environment. You're not going to get roofied. You're not going to be assaulted. I would hope not, but you're in a room with like a bunch of other people with cameras, lights, with directors. You know that the people that you're sleeping with have a clean STI test, which is something you don't get with escorting. And I don't know. I love being in front of the camera. I do think like being so neglected has made me such an attention whore that I love it.
Well, you definitely get the attention online. But were like relationships with guys prior to, obviously escorting and everything, but did you have any kind of solid relationships with guys where you're having like consensual, sex with them, where you weren't feeling like it was something you had to do illegally?
Yeah, I've had multiple relationships that have lasted like years at a time, and I am lucky, and I'm also cursed in a way where I do feel like, okay, especially being in porn, I stand out over so many other people just because of that. And I do work it to my advantage. So the disadvantage would definitely be dealing with dating, because it is hard, because I feel so guilty sometimes that whoever I'm dating, my partner always has to deal with my stigma that I face of being trans and being in porn. I know the guy that I'm dating right now, people have found out through like social media and stuff at his work, and he has like people come up to him and not necessarily make it a big deal, but bring it to his attention and kind of make it awkward in a way. So I do feel very guilty for whoever I'm dating, because they do have to deal with the same stigma that I face of being like ostracized. I do think each year it progresses and the world is being more educated, and it's not as big of a deal as it should be. But I'm blessed to like have the partner that I do, but I do feel guilty that they have to deal with the backlash when it's me. Like it's part of my baggage. Like if you're dating me, you're gonna have to have the balls to hold my hand and be like, yeah, I'm with a trans girl, but not just that, but I'm also with a porn star, which it's a lot.
Yeah, it's totally understandable. It's because, and I can understand the guilt part, which first off, you shouldn't feel that way, but I can understand having that feeling because now everything that, like you said, your baggage that you carry, everything that you have to deal with, your partner now has to deal with, and they may not be equipped in, the state of mind to handle it the way you are able to handle it because they haven't lived it. They're not living it. They're living it because they're dating you, but not living it because they are you. So I can totally understand where that can be, extra stress on a relationship. But back to getting into the business. So people out there who are in the same situation as you that are interested in getting into the business, how is it getting into it? Would you link up with like an agency? I mean, I know you're represented now by Hussy Models, but like, how did that door open for you?
So, yeah, I am signed with Hussy. And as far as I know, I'm the only trans porn star that's signed with any agency right now, which is pretty cool.
See, you're breaking barriers day by day.
I am. I love it. But when I first got into porn, I had a friend who was already in the industry, and she kind of helped me get in a word with one of the producers and told me who to shoot for, being a newcomer and an amateur. And she kind of was a big help in getting me in, because I had asked other trans performers and they were no help at all in getting me in. So she was great and lent like the biggest helping hand with me, because after doing shoots for that company she had recommended, I got at the Trans Erotica Awards Best New Face the following March. And then I signed with Hussy, which really took my career to the next level, and got me opportunities with Browsers, with Evil Angel, Digital Playground, some of the really big porn companies that shoot not just trans, which, don't get me wrong, I love shooting for the trans niche websites, but like you said, breaking barriers is like what I love to do. So if I could do more shoots for mainstream porn sites like that, that's the real goal for me. But I do think my career mostly, I don't know, it took off after my second boob job. Like doing that, like really over the edge.
Well, I mean, definitely, like I say, you're crossing over into different companies and platforms where a good majority of their work or their content is straight, regular porn. And then you coming in with the trans porn, it's just like bringing a whole new idea and realm to these companies, because there's people out there that may not know anything about that world, and they're seeing your content for the first time, and you're sparking interest of people. And again, you are the most sought out person right now in the adult business, which is fucking crazy, because there's so many people, like I said, wanted to talk to you and wants a piece of your time. And then you mentioned about the boob job. So I want to talk about some of the questions that I've gotten from fans. And that was one of the questions I kept getting bombarded with. Everybody wanted to know what size were her boobs. They're like, people are like, I absolutely love her boobs. What size are her boobs?
So technically it's 1,000 cc. But I guess in cup form, that would be a 32E. But I also could fit a triple E.
Okay, so that's pretty big, pretty big. Did you, I mean, they're amazing. Did you want to go that big? Did you, like, people want to, like, does you want to go bigger? Like, do you wish that you hadn't gone so big?
No, I have always been a fan of big boobs. I thought growing up, Anna Nicole was like the hottest girl in the world. And I always wanted big boobs, like, and even now, like, I still catch myself being like, they could be a little bigger. I love them. I do think I might go a little bigger the next time I have another boob job, but for now, I'm enjoying them, and my fans are too, so I'm happy about it.
And everybody compares you. They call you like the Barbie. Like you're built like a Barbie doll. Is that kind of like what you were going for? Like you want to be like the blonde hair, big boobs, like Barbie doll?
I love Barbie. Like as a kid, I thought, I don't know, I had so many Barbies. Like she was such a comfort to me for whatever reason. And I wanted to be her even as a kid. And so when I had the option to actually make that a reality when it's like all older, I was like, yes, like my Twitter is B-Doll Brittney. I wanted to manifest the Barbie aesthetic and body. I love the curves and having that hourglass, and Barbie, she was iconic growing up. So, and yeah, I've always loved like Pamela Anderson and just Carmen Electra, like the big titty bimbos. Can I say titty on here?
You just did.
I don't know. I guess I have a thing for bimbofication. And yeah, I feel like I've gone really big with my lips and my tits and my hips. I like it big.
So what is something that you like about being in the adult business? I mean, obviously, the money's good, the attention is good. What is something that you love about being in this business?
I really love being able to, I guess, inspire other people, although I do not see myself as a role model. I even experienced like people at AVN when I was signing with Husky. So many people came up to me and was like, oh my gosh, you're such an inspiration to me. And honestly, that is so heartwarming and just makes everything I go through so much worth it. I do get a lot of personal enjoyment out of doing porn. I genuinely love it. I've always wanted to be a model and actress, and I literally get to do both, but just butt naked.
But I read somewhere too that you mentioned about how getting into the business literally saved your life. Kind of
It did.
talk about that a little bit, because I mean, was there a point where you were contemplating?
Um, well, I will say that porn has changed my life in a way that, I mean, oh my God, I'd never be the same again. I'm, although, like you said, you get attention, you get money. Um, I, those are, don't get me wrong, those are things that I have always wanted. um, I am like blessed for that, but I do think it's enabled me to really also enable my body to match the inside, because let's face it, it costs money to look attractive. If you're, especially if you're trans, it takes surgeries, and I don't think that I would have been able to really go so far so quickly had I not gone into porn, especially when it came to getting my butt done. Like, I swear, I would go to a shoot, get the money, and then immediately book an appointment with my injector.
Before you spend it on something else, you know, you got to make sure you got to make sure you get the goods done first.
You got to invest. So investing in my body for the longest time, and really just kind of creating the image that I've always wanted. And it did enable me to move out to LA. I was in Palm Springs since I moved out here September. So it opened up a whole new world for me. I've created almost a family and a sisterhood with some of the girls that I've met through this industry. And that's that's more than I could ask for, to be honest. Like, I never had any trans friends at all, out in Palm Springs. There were no other two girls that I got along with or any of that. And I do think it kind of comes down to like jealousy, but when you're dealing with like other performers, they have their own lane, and you're not really dealing with as much jealousy, especially when it's a girl that owns her own shit and knows that we both bring something different to the table. So I've created so many good friends, and I'm in love with it. Again, I can't stress enough like what an amazing job it is.
What I have to say would be like a world of acceptance with like-minded people that, you know, have gone through probably some of the same struggles you have, where, you know, it has to be a relief to know that, hey, you know, I'm not the only person that's, you know, gone through a lot of these struggles. There's other people, there's people that accept me for who I am that you weren't getting, you know, elsewhere.
Yeah, I've always wanted like have like a sisterhood or like other trans people that I could go to and relate to, because especially when you're both trans and you're both in porn, you can kind of you have so much in common with some of the other girls. So yeah, it's really brought me close to other performers like Gracie Jane, Elena Genevieve, Aubrey Tate, and I'm very thankful for all of those friendships. And yeah, it's like I've always, especially when you talk about like the workplace and being trans, it's never going to be as celebrated as it is in porn. You don't really, I remember I used to work at Jersey Mike's as a manager when I was really young, right before I got into porn actually. And it changed, it, it changed so much because I used to feel like I had to hide who I was and me being trans when I was a manager. And now I'm in this gig and it's like, I'm so proud of who I am and what I've been through. I feel no shame in me being trans whatsoever. It's given me a lot of confidence in myself for sure.
Now, what's a shooting schedule like? How often do you shoot content?
So I shoot content very often. I'll just give you my itinerary. I'm going out to Canada on Wednesday, and I land next day, Thursday. I'm shooting with Groovy. I also have a shoot in the evening with Purgatory X. And then next day, I'm doing Trans Angels. The following day, Purgatory X. Fly back the next day. And then I'm pretty sure I have like content for my own website, BrittneyKade.com, that I have planned when I get back. So I'm a workaholic. And I love it. I'm always like planning what I want to do next. I have so much creativity with my work, so it's really fun for me. But I am a workhorse. I don't stop. I can't stop.
Now, what are your favorite scenes to shoot? Do you have like a desired scenes that you're into doing, or you just kind of like, hey, I just roll with the punches. Whatever they need me to do, I'm doing.
Honestly, I love being easy to work with, and I do like rolling with the punches and just doing practically every shoot that I have offered to me. Even, like I said, in Canada, even if they're on the same day, I will find a way to make it work.
How do you keep so much stamina, though? Like, to do something like that, that's a lot.
I surprise myself with that all the time. I was just in Miami and I had gotten 1 hour of sleep on the plane, and I land and I go check in and then immediately head over to my shoot that I had. And fuck this girl, I'm like 1 hour worth of sleep. But I had a good shoot. It came out good. I don't know. I always push my limits, and although I do kind of, I've seen it with other performers, especially ones that have been in the game for a while. If they get like burnt out or whatever, and they're just so, I'm just gonna say it, they're fucking ungrateful for their gigs, and they don't want to show up to work. They're fucking lazy. They are complaining while they're on set, and honestly, I think those girls need to take a vacation or something and like realize that you are blessed to be on set and like get the fuck for for a living on camera. Like, you have nothing to complain about. So yeah, I guess I'm just, because I grew up in such like poverty and always having to like take care of myself. It's just the hustler in me.
Yeah, you have a greater appreciation for it. You're like, I could have been, I could have not been here right now, so I could understand that.
Exactly. I don't know. It's ingrained in me to work when the opportunity presents itself.
Now, which roles do you prefer to do? Do you prefer to do the topping or the other way? Like, because assuming there's probably different ways to prep for something like that when you're doing a scene, right?
Oh yeah, prepping is important for sure. For me, if I'm shooting with a guy, I much rather be getting fucked. But if I'm shooting with a girl, it doesn't matter if it's trans or if they're born female or cisgender. I'd rather do the fucking. So it depends on who I'm shooting with. But when I'm prepping, I will say like a good majority of the prep goes into your diet. You have to have like self-control. You have to realize that you are a model. Like you have to take care of your body, of course. So prepping to like look good on camera is everything. But yeah, so especially dealing with like anal sex, I just make sure my diet is very light. Like I remember when I signed with my agency, they had like a pamphlet in the contract that dealt with like eating disorders and stuff. And it's kind of like, I don't know, like a precursor, but like you do have to watch your diet, especially for the girls that are doing anal. And just not even for like aesthetic purpose, but just as a courtesy to your co-star, you know? So there's that. And then of course, like on set, they always have like douches or like Viagra or, things like that you might need. But yeah, if I had to choose between shooting with a girl or a guy, though, I would definitely choose a guy, hands down, any day.
Now, having always being on the go, doing all these different scenes, traveling from here to there, whatever, what is your personal intimate life like? Like, do you come home and you're just like, babe, not into it tonight? Or are you just as rampant and like ready to go?
That's so funny you say that. Yeah, I've never been like, oh no, sorry, like I just got my asshole blown out. I don't want to fuck. Like you'll that day that comes, like hell will have froze over. Like always ready to go. I always want more. I think it's actually hot when I get like. For the longest time, my boyfriend was letting me stay at his house when I would come out to LA because he lived out here and I was still in Palm Springs. So I would come to his place after shooting and we'd have round two. So, yeah, I'm definitely a horn dog, even in my personal life. I think that's why I do enjoy my job so much because I genuinely love sex. So yeah, it can be a little difficult, you know, dealing with my work schedule because I do work a lot. I do feel like it does create like a miss for my partner, and he definitely appreciates the time that we do spend together, and I do the exact same because it isn't all the time, especially with him. He owns like 7 different businesses, so we're both on the go and working a lot. But when we do have that time to like get together, it's the best. It makes it's so nice being able to just like have that time to myself and also like, to be honest, have that sex to myself that I can genuinely enjoy and like get pleasure from because I mean, some of the people, I mean, they don't call it adult acting for nothing. Like I am acting in a lot of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool to be with the person that you love and the person that you care about and you know,
100%.
having a real connection with somebody as opposed to having a contracted connection with somebody.
Yeah, and it is nice because I do get to, you know, have things to think about while I am on set and to get, you know, nice and hard for whoever I'm doing that day. I can just think about like my escapades with him. But yeah, so I don't know. I do have like a very good overall personal sex life for sure.
Now, well, I said that we were going to have you on the podcast. We got fans that were sending in questions, but one of the things I want to know is I see some of the interactions that you have with fans on social medias. How do you deal with fans who, I don't know how to explain it, like they don't separate what is real and what is fantasy? Um, do you ever get offended or just like get tired of like some of the vulgar stuff people say? And I don't mean like hate, but just like the people that just the random tweets that people are like, hey, I want to fuck you, or, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you know, this and that. How do you deal with that and understand that, you know, they're not separating what is real and what's fantasy?
Um, that's a good question. So, at least for me, I have to look at my job as like an alter ego, a character. And a lot of people think that Brittney Kade isn't a character. It's who I really am. And so, I don't know, I guess it's the same way I guess like a regular person on TV or like a regular actor would feel when you have an audience that grows so close to that character. They see you in another movie and they're like, wait, no, like you're this character. This is how I see you as. And yeah, so I don't really get tired of it, or nor does it get on my nerves if people look at me like objectify me or see me as like a sex object, because honestly, that is what I've signed up for being in this industry. I knew what I was getting myself into and that people would look at me a certain way and even expect certain things from me. But I hate to disappoint them, but I don't do one-on-ones. I'm not touring anytime soon. And it's a personal boundary for me. And I'm sure I'm breaking some hearts right here, but I've said it multiple times on other platforms too, but it's meeting in person. It's never going to happen for my fans, but I am more than happy for them to fantasize about it for sure. And I'd hope that my videos do give them the fantasies of that, because I do want them to enjoy and feel that personal connection with me. Because I do share so much of my life online and with the public. I do think my fans feel that extra sense of personality, I guess. And they do feel like they know me. So it's very interesting. Like, even dealing with fans that came up at EBN, it's always, it puts a smile on my face just knowing that they think about me, and that I'm such like an influence in their life, whether it's just to go on my Twitter and jerk off, or literally to be an inspiration of, oh, I want to go into porn, or I want to transition, or whatever it is.
And the reason I ask that is because I see other talent who are venting, and I don't want to say crying and complaining, but there's other talent that I see on there, whether it be trans or, you know, regular talent, and they're always like, you know, please stop sending me dick pics and stop please disrespecting me. Not saying that anybody is warranted for anything, you know, because it's always like the whole thing where people are like, oh, well, they dress slutty, so they deserve to be, you know, looked at that way. But like you mentioned, you signed up for this, so there are going to be people that look at you as a sex object, and it's cool that you're able to accept that because there's some talent out there that are like so easily upset when they're looked at it or looked at that way.
I think they need to find another job.
Yeah.
I honestly, I wanted to be a sex object. Like, I know it sounds crazy, and to some people, they just don't understand it, but it's something that I wanted. I wanted people to look at me and think those things. It's kind of like wearing a very sexy dress to a party and knowing that you're going to get people hitting on you or looking at you or whatever it is, attention, I guess. How could you wear a sexy dress and then be like, oh my God, why is everyone looking
exactly.
at me? Like, it doesn't make sense. I think if for those people that are complaining or don't like the baggage or the heat that comes with it, they need to get out of the kitchen.
I agree, because I don't understand how you could be in that field of entertainment and that field of anything and expect to, like, people are going to... And it's so weird because I don't want to say like people are not going to respect you because everybody deserves to be respected. And I do believe that there are fans out there that genuinely respect the talent, but at the same time, it's like you said, you're playing a character, you're fulfilling a role, you're filling an escape for some of these fans. So to go out there and say, oh, well, I don't like the attention of, people disrespecting me and calling me a slut or a whore online and sending me unsolicited dick pics. And it's like, well, like like you said, what did you think was going to happen?
Exactly. You have, and this goes for like, if there's any, like one thinking about getting into porn, you have to realize that you are signing up to get those unsolicited dick pics. You're signing up to be stalked, cyber stalked, even physically stalked. You're signing up for your entire family to find out, for your fans to find your porn and send it to your family. Like, I've dealt with a lot of it. And to be honest, I see it as like a risk over reward. I think the reward outweighs all of the negative, in my opinion. And also, like I said, I like objectification. I think it's also one of my like personal kinks. So I enjoy the dick pics. The more the merrier. Bring them on.
Oh, you're going to get an abundance of them now.
Good. They can send them to BrittneyKade.com.
Now, talking about dick pics and everything, so you do have your own toy out. So many people don't get this opportunity so early on in their careers. So what was that thought process like? What is the feeling knowing that you now have officially your own toy? And for people that are interested in getting one, where can they grab one of these at?
That's right. I am one of the very, very, very few trans performers that have a adult toy line out right now. They can get mine at kinkmob.com/BrittneyKade. We have dildos, Brittney Kade dildos over there in a variety of different colors. We have limited edition ones coming out soon. And we also have strokers, fleshlights that will be dropped probably within the next month or so. So it's really exciting. It's a wonderful opportunity I'm so blessed with. And again, it goes back to my desire for like being a sex object. Now I'm actually a sex toy. It's pretty cool.
And people were saying like they were ordering them and they there's different forms, like there's different firmnesses. Is this like, Explain,
Yeah.
break this down for me because this is new stuff to me.
So what I really love about Pink Moth is they use 100% silicone. A lot of these companies, a lot of the bigger companies, you don't realize it, but they are not using 100% silicone. They are putting like fillers in, and it's really kind of a risk on what you're putting into your body. I feel like anyone who's ever used a dildo or had any silicone sex toy has realized that over time they start to degrade and they start to like get weird smells and weird discoloration, and that's because they are not 100% silicone. All of my products are 100% silicone. So they have longevity and they're going to last, and you're not going to have to deal with any of the complications that you get from a lot of other sex toys. You can also get a variety of different firmnesses. So you could get, like, if you want it more floppy or if you want it more firm, we have everything in between. And again, it goes back to basically what you want to do with it, your own like pleasure that you get out of it. But I also do get a percentage out of all of the sales that are made, regardless if you go to kinkmob.com or kinkmob.com/BrittneyKade, whichever you use. I am getting supported in that way. So if you want to support your girl, you can check those out.
And you mentioned also that you can get autographs with these?
Yes, I am selling autographed adult toys at BrittneyKade.com.
Very awesome.
Though, so for
now, do you have one that you prefer more? Like, what is like? Do you play with your own toy?
I have.
I was gonna say I didn't know if that was like taboo or not. I mean, that's. I don't know.
Are you kidding? The second I made it, I was like, I want to fuck myself. And yeah, it's actually going to be for sale, the one I used in the video. So if you are interested in used sex toys, you have a place to purchase that as well, BrittneyKade.com.
Now, was that weird when they're molding that? Like, how does that feel? Like, it's, I mean, it's obviously it's all true to size, so you want to make sure you're at your full attention when molding this. But
yeah, people don't think about that. Like, I remember I first got there because I had met them. I'd spoken to them on Twitter before, and then at ABN they came up to my booth and were making the deal together. So I had went over to their place that they were at, and we made the toy. But the first time that I had showed up, I thought, okay, this is the walk-in part. Let's do the ass toy first, get that over with so I don't have to be, like, really hard. And the ass was super easy to make. And then it came down to making the dildo. And honestly, I'm not going to lie, the first time I did it, I was struggling so hard. Not a problem.
Was it just nervous, or just because it was like the feeling of the material that they used to mold it, or?
It was the second that I saw this, like, it looks like slime. It looks like goo that they take out and, like, pour all over your dick. It's, yeah, the second I had that happen, I was like, I need to be a little bit more prepared. So, some Viagra helped me, and then we were able to get it done. But yeah, I did need that little extra help because it was kind of a boner killer watching the slime on my dick.
It looks like someone threw up on your dick or something.
It did, or like, I don't know, like Nickelodeon slime time or something.
Well, it's an experience that not many people get to say they've done. So
True, and I don't know, I am glad how it turned out because I could not ask for a better version of it. It's life size, which, like I said, a lot of people that do their own dildo lines, they aren't even life size. So I'm so pleased with how it turned out. And I recently did a photo shoot for it. Turned out wonderful. My fans have had such an amazing response for it. So I'm loving it that they're loving it too.
Well, everybody should go out and get one of these, but let everybody know too where they can find you at on social medias. Because I follow you on Twitter and you follow me on Twitter, and like I said, just the retweets and the mentions, it's like a nonstop Brittney fan fest on there. Like it's crazy.
Oh, yeah. So you guys can check me out on Twitter at @TheDollBrittney. You can get into a direct contact with me on my OnlyFans or going to BrittneyKade.com. I'm on Instagram as well at BrittneyKadeXO. And I have a TikTok, BrittneyKadeXO.
So there you have it. Or you could always do like I always tell people, I said, just Google it. You know, I'm sure everything will come up. Just be aware of catfishing and, you know, all that good stuff. So we know that the official, you can just go right on the website and get all the links.
Yes. And yeah, if there's anything at all, like you have any more questions, I'm just so thankful for your time and being on here. I was really looking forward to this.
I said I was looking forward to it, and I'm happy that you were able to squeeze some time into your crazy, hectic, you know, Energizer Bunny fucking schedule. Because I mean, I know I'm taking away time from you right now where you could be making some amazing content for your fans. So I appreciate that. And I'm sorry to all the fans that were, you know, saying you're cock blocking. Like, you're definitely taking away from her making content. But I guarantee you she'll be making a lot of it because she's on the go all the time.
Yo, yeah, it never stops with me. Thank you again. I am really looking forward to our in-person podcast.
Yes, we're going to get together in LA and we're going to do like a in-person podcast. And you might have to bring some of these toys so we can kind of do like, I feel like we got to do like a home shopping club, like infomercial with these toys. And
oh my God. Love that.
Bring the different variations with them, and then, you know, like, and then we can put on the screen, like, you know, how many of them they're selling in real time. And it's like, it's going to be fucking awesome.
I love it. Yeah, we'll do a discount that day just for it.
Yes, definitely. We'll definitely make this happen. And again, I just want to say thank you again for taking the time, for talking to us, and make sure everybody goes out and follows her on all her socials, check out all of her content, buy her toys, buy her autographs, just fucking immerse yourself, everything that is Brittney Kade, because she's the hottest thing going right now.
Oh, thank you. And be on the lookout to MMB Radio for what's to come.
Yes, definitely. Well, we appreciate it again. We'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you so much. Hi, this is Brittney Kade, and you're listening to Mix Master B at MMB Radio.